Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing out there? Man, amazing, amazing. So this looks a little bit new. I know everybody who's popped into my live chat. This is something a little bit different, as I talked about in the description. We got together. I got together with. Actually, I will say this. I was invited in. Luckily, I was just so fortunate to be invited in by a group of awesome creators who wanted to do a kind of rotating gig amongst our channels and to do something new and fun and interesting that people out there weren't really doing. So we're kind of moving about channels, and this is my week where it's here on Bridge the Divide, and I get to hang out with this amazing cast of characters. Claire and Patrick the Great is here. Unfortunately, Charlie Welch, whose name was in the description, unfortunately cannot join us tonight because Charlie, unfortunately, his area where he lives was suffering some major storms and knocking down trees, 80-mile-per-hour winds, and he's okay. He's not in any danger, but he has no internet, unfortunately. So he will not be joining us tonight. So you've got me, Claire, and Patrick the Great. say hello, good peoples.
Yeah, I want the chat to vote to change his name. I mean, I'm getting like he's got an unfair advantage here. We keep having to say great every time we mention Patrick. I don't know.
Well, we just call him Pat the cat, maybe.
Pat the cat, yeah.
Pat the cat.
Yeah, I go for that. Yeah, Pat the cat. Yeah.
See, okay, there's an avatar for you. It's just a hand on a cat and a cat looking kind of annoyed.
Yeah, I'm really annoyed you stole my glasses there, Pat. Like, what's that?
Well, it's an attempt at a disguise. I thought, like, because that cat has been used before elsewhere on other channels. Like, I don't know if people recognize it, but I thought I could disguise it by putting some glasses on it.
Oh, yeah, no one would recognize it. No, not at all. Yeah.
Well, I've got to say, I'm digging the Michael Myers. Oh, sorry, I'm digging the Michael Myers just over your shoulder.
Oh, it's Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God. Yeah.
Life size Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th part 7.
Okay. Oh my, you see, this is why I was going to say that the most horrific thing that I've been through or saw or event or anything would be actually doing this against you, JL. This is terrifying, horrifying, terrifying. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I really don't. Like, pray for me.
Yes, I'm here in the lair. This is where I do all my, like, I'm here in the office. I do all my work, and yes, It is my kind of like my testament to horror. Predominantly a lot of John Carpenter because I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. So I've got like The Thing, and over there on the side, like behind me, I've got Prince of Darkness and Mouth of Madness. I've got Christine and Big Trouble in Little China, and I'm a big Carpenter fan. But of course, all my autographs from the horror icons that I've met over the years are all framed all over the walls, and of course little tidbits. Like there's a gizmo up there from like the 1980s. From when I was a kid, and other stuff that people have sent me, and cool stuff all over the place. So just when you do YouTube long enough, you start acquiring things over the years, and it's awesome. So
it's a great setup.
Wow.
It is a great setup.
It is a really nice one.
Yeah. I've got to ask you because I know it's slightly off topic, but I'm considering watching the new Hellraiser. I've not seen it yet. How do you stand? Yes, is it definitely okay?
Do it because. While the original Hellraiser is fantastic, Doug Bradley, iconic, Ashley Lawrence, magnificent, Andy Robinson was great playing in the kind of dual role as both Frank and her dad. So the first one is iconic, but the second one is brilliant because first and foremost, it's really in line with the source material. So if you've ever read The Hellbound Heart, that short story by Barker. The new Hellraiser is phenomenal in that it sources directly from the book itself, from the short story. So you'll see the parallels there, which I really, really enjoyed. The function of the Cenobites is more authentic in keeping with Clive Barker's original vision. And not to mention, and I have to give some super duper props because and I want to make sure that I remember Jamie Clayton is absolutely fucking phenomenal as the new Hell Priest, or as the Hell Priest. She brought everything to that role, and it is just it's terrifying, it's haunting, it's creepy as shit, And I love the design. So yes, you will love it. You will absolutely love it.
Awesome. Good shout. Right. That's my viewing tomorrow night sorted. Thank you.
Yes, Jamie Clayton is so wonderfully talented, and I hope to one day have a sit down chat with her on how she landed that. Because she was on fantastic shows, like she was on Sense8, and she was fantastic on that show, and then she landed this one is like wow. So she's just kicking ass and taking names. So before we get kicked off, I see we got a number of people in the chat, which I had hide real quick like we usually do. Just call me Avi. Good to see you. Icarus as well. Thanks so much for being here. Marcus Dresden as well. Thanks so much for hanging out. And I see as well, MC Wrecker is here. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Mousy Files is here and says, I need to make a horror movie murder at Little Caesars. Shitty pizza. You must die. So hot and ready. Hot and ready is what that is. Absolutely. Charlie Welch is hanging out in the chat. Good to see you, Charlie. I'm glad you're safe. Glad everything is okay out there. Sorry that you're out of internet. Hopefully they get that back up soon. Tesla Radio's here. Good to see you, Tesla Radio. Tony Regime as well. NANA. Thanks so much for being here. And I see Tom Robertson as well. Good to see you. Elizabeth S is hanging out. Says hello. Good to see you, Elizabeth. Just call me Avi. Jinju. Fantastic to see you. And apparently Patrick the Great fails already. Ouch. So they're calling you out, Pat Cat. They are calling you out.
It was my Michael Myers comment instead of Jason. That's
Just call me out. He says, this is where I do my work. Directly opposite to jail is a slab. I'll let your imagination run wild. That's why you only see half the office. The other half, just I can't. We're not ready for that. You're not ready for that. I'll say that. Nee is here. Good to see Nee. Thanks so much for being here today. Appreciate it. And I see Juju B as well. Thanks so much for hanging out. And who else we got? High Inquisitor. The High Inquisitor has arrived. Says, if Charlie Welch needs a place to stay, I'll graciously open my home to him. Very, very nice of you. Very, very sweet. All right. So what we do here on this kind of rotating show that we've been doing, the challenge, is that we have our little panel and that we've come up with things that we can debate that are fun, that are interesting to us. And this particular one that we've decided to debate today, as you saw in the description, is the scariest moment in horror history. Now, obviously, there's a lot of horror history, and I know because of Week in Horror, the podcast that I run, and there's a lot of movies out there. But there are some iconic moments that we have come across that are just, that we immediately conjure when we think about this. So each one of the panelists has created their own kind of presentation to defend their point. And so I say, without further ado, and I know that we're going to be polling the audience as well to determine who they think wins. Unfortunately, this is the big kicker. I'm on StreamYard, so I don't know how to put a poll up. Maybe I can do it via the live chat.
I think you can on the live chat if you have a community tab already and everything. I think down there in the options, yeah. But on the YouTube side, not.
I have to go here. I'm going to go to my channel and I'm going to pull up the live. There we go, and see if I can chat filter.
Down at the bottom where you see the smiley face and everything like that, usually there's a button and you hit that and then it'll come up that you can create a poll.
I see all my emojis.
There's not anything. There's not another little thing.
Not seeing a poll. You see, that might need to be done from the YouTube Studio, which I could actually bring up real quick. I can go to YouTube Studio and
wow.
I know on mine, when I go to the bottom, right where the add reaction is, when I click that, besides the emojis, would come up create a poll. So I don't know.
Let me see here. I'm not seeing where to create one, and it's not there.
Hey,
we could just ask them to type out.
Just ask them to type it in. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work.
It kind of works out better that way. Then Patrick can't cheat again, Jay. Remember the first one?
This is true.
This is true. He only won because he cheated. He really did.
I
He
happen to have
okay,
a couple of other accounts kicking around. I will admit I did log into them and vote for
He
myself.
had
but
the sock account advantage. That
He did.
threw it off.
Yeah.
All right. I see Dan Shire's here. Good to see you, Dan Shire. And I see Gareth Dawson is here as well. Good to see you. Thanks so much for being here. All right. Marcus Dresden as well. Good to see you, Marcus. Thanks so much for being here today. All right. So I think we kick this off, and when we do the voting, you can either type in the name or you can type in 1, 2, and 3. I think that typing in the name would probably be better, just because so we know. So like JL, Claire, Patrick, or Pat. So one of the three. I think it's the easiest and fastest way to do it. And then I'll watch through the live chat and indicate. We'll figure out like who gets the most. So I think without further ado, we should get this bad boy started because people want to see what we have. And I think Pat, I think you agree. I think Claire should go first.
Oh, no. Why do they always make me go first? No, I protest. I'm nervous enough. No, I think.
Okay.
Make the cheater go first.
Okay. Well, how about this? I have the official. This is the official coin we use for the bloodbath debates over on Week in Horror. And so you see the state of Texas right there. It's from Texas Frightmare Weekend, and the words on the back. So the words are tails, and the Texas is heads. Okay. So I'll tell you what. Patrick and I will flip for it. All right. So, Patrick, because I've got the coin, I'll let you call it in the air. You ready?
Okay.
And call it.
Heads.
And I've got... It is heads.
You know, I'm going to do something curious, right? Rather than nominate someone else, I'm going to nominate myself.
To go first?
To set the tone, because I think I might have done something slightly different to the two of you. So I don't want it to contrast negatively. I think if I lead with it, then yours might contrast negatively because I think I misunderstood the rules.
Uh-oh. Wait, you made the rules. How did you misunderstand
That's
the
why
rules?
that's why I was going through all the like in the Twitter chat. I was trying to just figure out what exactly are we doing? It was it's the scariest moment. So
yes.
All right, so here we go. Patrick's going to lead us off. So Patrick, feel free. I believe do you have your video uploaded?
I can present it from my side. I didn't know whether I think I put it in the chat for you. Should I present it from my end?
You can I think you can bring it in just like Claire brought her stuff in.
Oh,
and
of course
then
I can,
and then I can hit play on it. I can add it to the stream, then I can hit play on it. So
okay, right. Well, it's going to come in about 10 seconds, but I'll tell you what, I'll let it introduce and then I'll I think we've got 10 minutes each, don't we? So I'm going to speak a little bit about it afterwards. So it's coming in. I think it starts immediately. So it's coming in 3, 2, 1. There we go. There we go.
All right. And what I'll do is I'll add this to the stream and pause that. And then we will jump over here and we'll be right here on the side. And let me know whenever you want me to hit play.
Yeah, if it's wound back to the beginning, you can hit play and then I'll just jump in at the end.
Okay, here we go. Here is Patrick's entry for the debate tonight.
You know, I've only been traumatized, truly traumatized, twice in my entire life. The first time was just this morning, actually. My wife had a vindaloo last night, and I had the unfortunate pleasure of having to follow her into the bathroom. But the first time was on Halloween 1992, when I sat down to watch a program that not just traumatized me, not just left its mark on my childhood and my underpants, but also traumatized a nation. A show so horrific that it attracted 30,000 complaints in just one night. A show so traumatizing it gave children PTSD. And as a result, at the time, the show was cited as the cause of problems in countless psychiatric issues. And perhaps worst of all, and maybe the reason the show has been banned ever since it was aired, is that it was responsible for a teenager taking his own life. The show was called Ghostwatch, and it was fronted by Michael Parkinson, Sarah Green and Mike Smith, and at the time, they were the BBC's leading presenters.
Television is going ghost hunting in an unprecedented scientific experiment we hope to show you, for the first time, irrefutable proof that ghosts really do exist.
So, let's knuckle down, clench tight, and find out why this was the most horrific TV event of all time. The lady on the screen is Pam, and she's with her 2 daughters. They live in a house which they claim is haunted by a ghost called Pipes because he bangs on the pipes. The BBC have agreed to set cameras up all over the house and film the house live, where the viewers can watch and phone in if they see anything mysterious. Now, this is way before shows like Most Haunted or the equivalent you might have in America. This was really a novel thing, and it attracted a lot of interest. Anyway, it wasn't long before viewers at home decided that they'd seen something a little suspicious.
They too have seen a mysterious dark figure in the background of that shot in the children's bedroom. Michael?
Dark, mysterious figure, Doctor.
Have we got that sequence ready yet?
So they get the footage ready, and here's what they show.
Now, this is the point where Emma Stapleford, our caller, said she could identify that dark, mysterious figure in the corner of the room. Don't see anything myself, do you?
Now, I could see something there, but the experts in the studio were all too happy to just explain it away.
Oh, false alarm?
Yeah, I think I can see what's happened. You see the shadow cast by the curtain there? You see on the curtain on the left-hand side?
But then a phone call was patched through to Michael Parkinson from somebody claiming to be a social worker who knew who was apparently haunting the house, a guy called Raymond.
How do you know him? Why are you calling, sir?
I worked as a social worker when he came out of psychiatric hospital. He had several convictions for molestation, aggravated abuse, abduction of minors. He should never have been let anywhere near any community. He was a very disturbed man.
And from that point forward, the shit really did hit the fan. And the inside of my pants. Yeah, the ghost decided to let its presence be known.
Children, come on.
No, Sarah, stay where you are, please. Sarah, stay there, please. Don't go upstairs.
But Sarah does go upstairs, and in the true spirit of 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100, we'll just move on to the point where Sarah finds one of the girls lying in bed.
Suzanne's feeling a bit better now. We still don't know how the scratches got on her face.
Now, of course, a few scratches, bangs, a shadow on a curtain, and a phone call from a dodgy anonymous social worker aren't really evidence of anything, but it's starting to build a narrative within the minds of those watching, specifically young children like me. I was only 12 years old. I was gripped on the edge of my seat. A seat, by the way, that I was just about to stain.
There are incredible noises coming from the walls and from the ceiling. Ah! Oh. Kimmy? Susie. Stop it! Stop it, Susie!
And it was that moment there, that specific moment, all the narrative that led up to it culminated in that horrific scene. As a child, it took me days to get over what I'd seen. Now, I suppose this video is going to leave you with a lot of questions, and I'll answer them now. So, I don't know, I think I've probably got about 3 minutes to go. I don't know. I'm going to put some context to that. Now, that was, as far as thousands of people across the country knew when they were watching that, it was a BBC live show happening with the most trusted presenters of the BBC at that time. Now, what the BBC had done, we have a magazine over here called the Radio Times. Obviously, we had no widespread internet back then. And in the Radio Times, it had a TV guide, and it listed that program as a drama, right? But if you hadn't read the Radio Times, you wouldn't know it was a drama. And it started at 9:25, and there was like a 30-second clip before it started saying, oh, here's a drama. And then it just played into it like it was a live thing. So if you missed the introduction in the absence of Sky, where you could wind back and see what was going on, you know, if you came in 30 seconds late, for all intents and purposes, you thought you were watching a live show. I was 12 years old at the time, and I fell in that boat. I came in maybe 45 seconds after it started. I didn't read the TV Times. And I thought, you know, what I was watching was genuine and it was live, and it frightened the pants out of me. And those clips I was showing you before, in the video, the newspaper clips and the headlines, they're not jokes. You know, this literally has ended up in scientific studies and papers for psychiatry magazines. There was, unfortunately, a young man who had noisy pipes in his house. And after seeing this, he thought about Pipes the ghost, and he took his own life because of it, because he was that terrified. I turned off, I'll be honest. I was only a child, but I turned off when that girl started speaking like that. And I missed the ridiculous ending, which gave it away that it was all silly.
and it was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's the only thing I've ever seen horror-wise that has lived with me since that point. So for me, that moment there, because of its long-lasting effect and its effect on a nation, is the most horrifying TV event ever for me. I rest my case.
Interesting. Okay.
Very interesting. Yeah, you really pulled that one out there.
Thank you. Yeah. I thought I'd go for something slightly outside the box.
Yeah.
No, but it works. It definitely works.
It definitely works.
TV shows, movies, see, they were all open games. So, and I can imagine why that would be extraordinarily terrifying. Absolutely. Let me go ahead and pull that down.
And it personally affected you, which is what it
Yes.
was. It's got to be the horror, not in general for everybody, that actually horrified or terrified us in a event or a movie or something, which was hard, very hard to do.
All right, Claire, do you want to go next?
I might as well get it over with so I don't puke. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
This is terrifying.
Let's go ahead and add this up. And
Okay. I had a hard time with this one.
Wait, is that the video? I think.
Nope, it's not a video. It's a presentation. I'll have to.
Oh, presentation! Fantastic. Yes. You are up. So
I'm a tech noob or boob or whatever you want to call it. I'm not very good with video, but yeah. So yeah, listen, this was very difficult for me. Not only coming on JL's channel, I knew it was his week, and this was all about horror. First of all, I'll admit right now, true confession, I am the most annoying person in the world to watch horror with. I won't watch it alone, and I'm very noisy. I scream, I yell, I hide my face, I run around. I just can't do it. I am not one that just takes it in a critical kind of, oh, that's nice kind of way. Like, it affects me. So it was really hard. It was really hard to pick just one event or just one movie. So I decided, like, I just picked a few, and then I'll get to the final one. But we've got the classics, like everybody knows War of the Worlds. How traumatic was that as an event? They broadcast this thing. I live in New Jersey, right near the town where supposedly these aliens land. We got a coffee shop named after it that does the whole big thing. It was traumatic. It horrified many. And it was. How about Psycho? I mean, come on, that music, everybody remembers that knife coming through the shower. That music, terrifying. Okay. The birds pecking at Tippy's head. Come on. And in the schoolyard, all of those birds, the classics. Not to mention Frankenstein and the werewolf and the Jack the Ripper ones, all of that, the classics. But I didn't pick any of those because, like, I got over it. Like, now I can look at them and they don't do a thing to me. So it really wasn't that horrific, but they're all classics. And JL will probably say there's like 9 million more I could have mentioned as classics, but we didn't have that kind of time. Carrie, this scared me. Okay, when that blood came down, it was you kind of knew in Carrie like what was kind of gonna happen, but they did it so well. Carrie got me. This got me. So Carrie goes on to like light the whole prom on fire with her mind. She attacks them with hoses. All kinds of accidents happen. She goes after the couple that dumped the blood on her, and there's a big tragic car accident, all just because she looks at you. Carrie looks at you and you're done for. Carrie gets taken out or attempted to be taken out. Another horrible part of this scene. This really freaked me out. Who wouldn't be afraid of their mother coming at them with a bunch of prayer, Bible, and a knife, like gonna just take you out? Like this, when I was younger, this was horrible. Carrie was it, but still, as I got older, it just didn't resonate. Not like Patrick's, who still remembers the horror of watching that first one. I kind of, it softened. Even though I'm a sissy when it comes to this stuff, I still can watch it now, and actually, I can laugh at Carrie like while I'm watching it. Or even all the classics, I can kind of giggle through it, not make all those horrible noises. But the slasher movies, okay. Now there's tons, so please don't come at me. I know there's like a million, But classic slashers like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and the Saw series, okay? All right, that gets to me. That will make me hide my face. That will make me squeamish. That will kind of like make me oogie for like, I know, is that even a word, oogie? Like, you roll your shoulders and you like squinch back and you just ugh. I just can't. I don't want to see those scenes. I might turn away, but is it terror? No, it's more like disgust or just like, I don't know, too much blood. Okay, because I do remember watching the new release of Blood and Honey, the Winnie the Pooh. And they're just on that one, there just wasn't enough blood and guts for me. Like they really undersold that one. They missed so much opportunity to throw in the gore. That I was actually laughing, through it. So it didn't do anything. Slasher movies, they just kind of make me cringe, but really didn't horrify me really at all. Although, like some of the masks, some of the characters, Pinhead, you mentioned Hellraiser and Pinhead with that box, and because there was all of the next category, kind of psychological part about it, Pinhead kind of did it for me. But there's some other ones in this genre that were kind of like a little weird. Does anybody remember Phantasm with that little metal ball? And the really tall man with the really long arms and the kids in the mortuary and the whole big fantasy part of it, that ended up just to be kind of like a closeted slasher movie, the way they killed everybody. But you may not remember that one, but I do. But it still didn't stick out as a very horrific event that would stand through my life. This guy in slasher movies, okay? I'm going to mention Terrifier as an honorable mention. I didn't choose it, but I could not make it through this movie. Not one, not two, or the third one. And I tried. I tried several times. I couldn't do it. That clown, besides the clown from Stephen King's It, which I did just recently rewatch with our friend Charlie Welch, because like I said, I do not watch horror things or scary things by myself. And I got through it. The clown thing really disturbed me on a personal level. I like clowns. I mean, clowns are fun. Clowns are entertainment. Turn them into killers, and it just really disturbs me. This guy, this was too close. This was too real. The way they did the killings in Terrifier, I could not get through. I don't know about you guys, but Terrifier did terrify me. But because I couldn't get through the movie, I didn't feel I could mention it or an event in it, since I didn't finish it, since I couldn't finish the series, since I probably never will. But it just gets an honorable mention because it is as advertised. The title is suiting. It might even be classified as some of you horror buffs as a B-side, like a B category type movie, not even on the A list. But for me, that dude is horrible, horrifying, terrifying. Could not even get through it. Like, tell me, like, look at that. This is not right in any sense of the word. This is not good viewing, not for someone like me at all. Okay. The next category was drama or psychological theory, psychological edgy, dramatic, kind of mind-boggling, kind of twisting you up. Silence of the Lambs, Seven, The Sixth Sense, even John Carpenter's The Thing. All of these that have that twist, and there's so many of them, but these are the three that stuck out to me. But I couldn't figure one particular event in there that horrified me. Of course, in Silence of the Lambs, there's the nod to Ed Gein where he's dancing around in his skin suit, and you put the lotion in the basket and all of that, or the head in the box of Seven, or I see dead people in Sixth Sense. I mean, really good scenes, but did they terrify me? No. I can think about them and not have nightmares. They twisted me up. They messed with my head. The whole thing was a great ride. The psychological horror, I'm for it. It's a great ride. I mean, I'd rather have that than a slasher anytime, and I could get through it. But nothing that really, really, really terrified me. Because I could watch them again and again, again and again. This is the one that did it. This is my entry. Y'all, I didn't even put the name on there because that beast, you all know, this series. Okay, but when that first one came out, there's a scene in there that has warped my young brain in the movie theater. I saw every single one of these on the big screen in the movie theater. Yes, screaming my head off, like yelling, gasping, or hiding my head, like going, no, 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 you name it. Like everybody yelling at me. I'm that annoying person in the theater. I just cannot be quiet about it. I'm gasping. I'm making all kinds of noise. That did it for me. Alien, the Alien series, that did it for me. When I think of horror and just the psychological part of it, and then the gory scenes involved and the way it developed, Alien versus Predator was just damn, that was so cool to watch on the big screen. Loved it. But that's not the scene that did it. This is my scene. Oh, even now, see? I can't. Oh my God. That's disgusting. You have to admit, this is disgusting.
Oh, no. Oh, touch it. Don't touch it.
Oh, the little jerk runs away. He's now in the ship. Okay, that did it for me. I'm not over this, as you can see. I'm still not over this. Okay, that's my scene stiller. Holy effing moly! Sorry, that little bugger wins it every damn time. That thing is disgusting. That's it. Okay, that's it. I'll take questions. I might be able to get through. I don't know. That's it. But yeah, I think I don't know. That just did it for me. So
it's an iconic scene, isn't it? That is one, like, how many more iconic scenes in cinema are there than that? You know, that stands out there for everyone, doesn't it?
It's definitely a big one. It absolutely is.
It still gets me. Like, I can't be quiet. Like, it pops out. You hear the crushing of the rib. Like, you hear it busting through the ribs. It's got the bone crunching sound. And that it just little thing is just like, it's creepy alien looking, but it's just a little too human looking when it comes out there with that. It's just, total freak out. Yes.
Nee in the chat brings up the actors from that scene are still traumatized. They weren't given any warning, particularly because they didn't know what it was going to look like, what was going to happen specifically. And when that happened, particularly Veronica Cartwright was the most affected because
she got the blood on her, right?
She was in the direct line of fire of the splash, and so she wasn't expecting it. So her reaction is 100% authentic. That oh my God that she utters, there's that like oh God, you know, like that. That was completely legit because she had from interviews, she said that where she was standing, she didn't really have a great angle, and then when they saw something was happened, Ian Holm moved out of the way. And then she got full blast right in the face. And so it was like completely unexpected. And that really apparently traumatized the shit out of her because it was just so completely and totally unexpected. Similar stuff would be like when Neil Marshall hid the crawlers in The Descent. So the monsters that were in the movie The Descent, he did not show the actresses, the team of spelunkers in that, the girls. He didn't show them what the monster looked like, not until it was revealed in that scene where it was really dark and they were using the infrared, and then all of a sudden there it was. That was the first time any of the actors had seen what the monsters looked like, and they all freaked out. And that was a genuine, authentic reaction there.
Yeah.
Cool
so how would that, like, if it's going to burst out of God, what's wrong with my head tonight? Like, that actor's so famous. Hurt, isn't it?
John Hurt.
Yeah, if it's going to burst out of John Hurt's chest, but they're not going to know what it looks like until they see it. Like, the practical effects must have been pretty awesome at the time. Like,
essentially, what they did is they brought John Hurt in and they set up the entire sequence so that when the other actors came in, all it looks like to them when they're about to film the sequence is John Hurt is there on the table. and they have it set up, and they know that that's not that part of him is hidden, but they don't specifically know what's going to happen. Like specifically, they have an idea from the script, but the script, and I have a copy of the Alien script sitting around here somewhere in my collection, it wasn't really described in the script as to what would happen, and that was intentional. And so when it goes down and he starts freaking out, and then of course when they do the sequence when he's lying there, it's okay, here it comes, and everybody get ready and react to it. They weren't expecting like the thing to jump out, and what happened was it tried to punch through the shirt the first time, and it didn't work. So it didn't come through, and that was a fortunate accident. So it tried to rip through the shirt, but failed. But the blood went everywhere, and then that's why everybody is like, "What the hell? Like what is that?" And then all of a sudden, they punched it again, and they because they had to increase the pressure on the system behind it, it punches through and blood just sprays everywhere, completely unexpected. It was supposed to come through on the first shot, and there would be some blood spray, and then you'd have the monster. But the double shot, like it was fighting to get out, completely unintentional. And so it rips through the second time forcefully, and then all of a sudden, there it is. And that's because everybody's like, it hits, and you see the blood spray across the chest. They're like, everybody's like, what the heck? And then they all kind of look closer. It's like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, bam, it comes right through the shirt and blood everywhere. So like one of those brilliant little accidents that takes place on set.
That's awesome. It is a classic scene. You've chosen a good one there, Claire. It is a really, really classic.
Well done.
Thank you, Patch. Oh, JL said well done. Okay, I can calm down now. Okay, so at least I did. I may not win, but at least I didn't embarrass myself. Okay.
All right. Before I debut mine, I see 3Ron is here. Good to see you. Braun. I see Braun is here. Good to see you. Colin, definitely not Cromwell as well. Glober Mom. Good to see you. Daniel Jade. Bunch of people have popped into the chat. Fantastic to have you all here. And just in time, because here's mine. So I will give you mine. I prepped and edited a video, so I'll just go ahead and play it. And mine is less than 10 minutes, and so I'm not going to worry about that, but I could talk about various stuff after that. So here we go. The horror genre is the greatest genre of all time. And throughout the history of horror, many entries contain visceral moments that have solidified themselves forever in our memories. They're moments when we as the audience suddenly realize that things are not only not what they appear to be, but they are far, far worse than we could ever imagine. And in this genre we love, there are so many we can choose from. Whether it's a big angry fish saying hello, an alien creature bloodily making its debut out of a host, helicopter moms, hungry demons, medical assistants gone wrong, or extremely unorthodox uses of a lawn maintenance tool. There are so many moments that have terrified us so completely that our perspectives become irrevocably altered as a result. But amongst them all is perhaps the singularly most terrifying moment in horror history. And what's all the more impressive and shocking is how this particular moment achieved that status while having no blood, no gore, no screams, and no violence on the screen. And that moment is the infamous nurse scene from Exorcist 3. Now, to understand why this moment is the greatest, we quickly have to take a look at all of the incredible elements that went into setting it up. First and foremost, Exorcist 3 sees the return of William Peter Blatty, the mind behind the original Exorcist, but not only returning as screenwriter, but also this time as director. Now, Blatty worked hand in hand with director William Friedkin to make The Exorcist one of the most legendary horror films ever made, and Blatty took that experience and aimed to rectify the damage done to the franchise by John Boorman and William Goodhart's Exorcist 2: The Heretic. Secondly, Exorcist 3 beautifully expands upon the universe created by William Blatty in the first film, this time following Lieutenant William F. Kinderman, the homicide detective from the first film, now played to perfection with brilliant, haggard determination by George C. Scott, 15 years after the events of The Exorcist, as he investigates a series of murders linked to a serial killer who was executed 15 years ago. What follows is a beautifully choreographed and haunting game of cat and mouse between Kinderman and the evil spirit of of the Gemini Killer, who is currently possessing the body of Father Damien Karras, played once again by Jason Miller, who was kept alive by the entity Pazuzu after the events of the first film as revenge for his role in its defeat and the saving of Regan McNeil. Found wandering and suffering from amnesia, Karras was locked up in the institution for 15 years, no one coming to find him because everyone believed he was dead. With his body playing host to the evil spirit of the Gemini Killer, portrayed by Brad Dourif in probably his greatest, if not most beautifully creepy performance. And he will leave Karras at night to possess other less watched patients in the institution and use their bodies to go out and commit more horrific murders. And that leads us to the scene in question. In this grand moment, Blatty demonstrates a profound understanding of the nature of fear, tension without release, and the subversion of expectations. The scene itself is nearly 4 minutes long in the setup. Nurse Keating, played by Tracy Thorn, has the night shift in the institution, and as various employees walk around handling their tasks, she is briefly left alone at the charge desk. An odd noise sends her investigating, which is always a bad choice, and we get a sudden massive jump scare when she accidentally startles a sleeping patient.
What the hell do you want?
And then things return to normal. Keating then heads back to the charge desk, the mood returning to its basic quiet. She checks various rooms on her way back to the desk when all of a sudden, as she turns her back on a room that she just checked, the audio spikes and the camera crash zooms into a sheeted figure with a set of massive shears, swiftly following the completely unaware nurse out of frame. No blood, no gore, no violence, just a perfectly timed moment that catches the audience by the throat right when they thought they were safe. Now, the keys to this brilliant scene are the elements that set it up. The film's environment is a steady thrum of dread and uncertainty. The characters are dedicated but weary. The killer is seemingly unstoppable. The hospital is a quiet environment and very well lit. A character that isn't alone but surrounded by co-workers. A red herring, enough time for our adrenaline to subside, and then expertly timed right between the heartbeats, a sudden explosive reveal that bears none of the cliched hallmarks of the setup we've come to expect, such as rising score, extreme close-ups, or deceptive blurred or dim images, which is what brilliant cinematography and proper planning can achieve. But making it all the more terrifying is how grounded in reality the scene is, demonstrating just how swiftly unspeakable violence can befall a person, reminding us that death can be waiting around any corner, even in spaces that you've come to trust, even when people are surrounding you that are there solely to protect you. Blatty demonstrates not only a mastery of the technical, but also of the world that he's created, a world in which evil moves under its own power, in which its malice and forethought is incomprehensible, where its power lies not in hackneyed acts of global cataclysmic atrocity, but in lurking constantly just beneath the surface, striking without warning and leaving nothing but blood, tears, and regret in its wake. It is a masterfully crafted and utterly terrifying moment that is hailed by many critics, horror or otherwise, as being the singular most terrifying moment in horror history.
Wow. Wow. Okay. You actually had me sucking in my breath and I gasped like and you're muted, Jay. It's like, oh my.
Sorry
Oh
about
gosh.
that.
Yeah. Oh, you got me. You got me. Okay.
It is and well, just call me a pops out. It is a jump scare, and yes, it is a jump scare. So with the difference between this one and your stereo, I guess your cliche jump scare is that all of the elements that set up a jump scare are not present in this, other than what you could say is a crash zoom. But crash zooms often don't set up jump scares, because jump scares are better when people have decided in production that it's better when things are up close, when you're already in an ECU or in an extreme close-up, and then there's a sudden reveal because your field of vision is so narrow, and then all of a sudden something comes in and it triggers the body's inability to dodge because it's so in your face and so fast. This one, because everything was shot wide, and they go from a wide shot all the way into a crash zoom to where we see this moment, and we see no violence. We see the anticipation of it, which means everything that follows is all in our head. So very similar to the success that Spielberg had in not showing the shark in the vast majority of the film. we conjure the image in our mind as to what is going to happen, what's going on. Not to mention, it's freaking that it happens so quickly because we know from the 4-minute setup going into that, there are security officers literally right around the corner that don't know what's going on. They just have, it's so brilliantly timed. And one of the expert moments in that was, it was deliberately spaced, like the timing, the beats that lead up to that sudden reveal were timed just in enough time where the medically, as when people's adrenaline pops from the first red herring jump scare, when the patient jumps up and scares the nurse, from that moment into the almost I would say 3 minutes to when the next reveal takes place, people have already begun to physiologically calm down. And just in that second, on the average heartbeat of a human being, right in between that is when the reveal, is when the crash audio and the crash zoom take place, which means people aren't expecting it to happen because they're in a moment of physiological reset. So it was brilliantly timed, and that all came from Blatty. Blatty's imagination, his grasp of what fear is and what horror is phenomenally done. And this one right here, taking what he learned from William Friedkin on the first film, and then kind of like, going hardcore to overcome or kind of ignore Exorcist 2, Blatty went full bore and gave us a moment that is describably probably one of the greatest jump scares, one of the greatest moments. And one of the things that people will bring up Exorcist 3 and they always remember this this particular moment.
It was brilliant for every reason you said. And I tried to say the same thing with my presentation there, that the reason that you get big payoffs for these horrible moments is because you've had that groundwork, like you said, put in before, and I suppose you're creating that suspense, you're creating that expectation, you're creating that environment. And without that, like you said, it might be a simple jump scare, but for all the reasons you've said, it's so much more powerful than that, because you've got that big setup before. And it is a great film. It is it's an absolute pearl. And I'm glad that it decided just to pretend Exorcist 2 never happened.
Absolutely. And I know I had to throw in like the earlier stuff, like obviously the Jaws reveal and the Alien reveal and Taking of Deborah Logan and Hereditary and the lawnmower scene from Sinister, which the lawnmower scene from Sinister actually got me pretty good as well, because it's so fast, but it's just slow enough that you recognize what's happening. Because the way the light is set, the light is so tunneled, you're kind of like, what the heck is going on? It's like a spotlight. And then all of a sudden, the lawnmowers go along, and then all of a sudden, there's a person's face. And you're like, and before you can react, the lawnmower's going over their head. And I was like, And so that actually kind of like, I was like, oh, damn, that was gnarly. So, there's those key moments that we will always remember. But Exorcist 3, with no blood, no screams, no gore, just very, very akin to the first Alien film, when Dallas is walking around the tunnels and then is going around the chutes, and then he turns around and it's just like 6 frames of hands coming out, and then that was it. And then Dallas is gone. So it's akin to similar like that. We don't need the blood, don't need the gore. We just need the reveal. And that was this one particularly because of the visceral violence of the giant shears for like hacking, for like, snipping people's heads off. It just makes it all the more disturbing. And I think it sits with people pretty intensely.
Yeah, no, that is a good shout. That is a good call.
Yeah,
It is a good scene. And I remember that scene quite vividly. But it's going to be a great second place entry. It's going to be a great second place.
I don't know. There's not a poll, Patrick. You can't get 100 people. 100 talking.
So here we go. So now we have had, and unfortunately, I know Charlie Welch actually told me what he was planning on showing, and it's a shame that we don't get to have it here. I don't want to spoil it because he may be able to use it in the future, but he had a pretty good one planned as well. It's a bummer that he can't show it, but I'm glad that he's here. I'm glad he's safe in the chat. But now it's time for the live chat reaction. Okay, we have had Claire's Alien reveal. We have had Patrick talking about Ghost Watch on the BBC, which is, if I remember correctly, was based off the Enfield Poltergeist event. which was an event that the Warrens, that Ed and Lorraine Warren actually investigated. And then you have the Exorcist 3 reveal. So here we go in the chat. I'm going to put it over to y'all. You can type. So right now, from this moment right now, start putting in the names as to who you think took this thing. Like, who you think took this one. JL, Claire, or Pat. Just type it in the live chat, and I will star those.
Patrick.
And right now we're at, actually in 15 seconds, it'll be at 51. And I'm gonna let the poll run until the hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in 5, 4, 3.
Hey, Patrick,
2,
you can't vote for yourself. You already voted for me like a half hour ago. I saw
There
it.
we go. All right,
Yeah.
so we got. Now I'm just gonna start marking them. So if I pay attention to this,
thank you, people. I'm shocked. Ooh, Patrick, take a look at that chat.
There's a lot of incorrect people in the chat, isn't there? There's a lot of people in the chat that clearly didn't see mine and JL's presentation.
Hey, even Charlie voted for me. Yes, just right there. I feel like a winner. I don't care if the rest of the votes come in opposite. I win. Charlie voted for me. Yeah.
The second week on the trot.
Yes.
Mine had kids diagnosed with PTSD.
I thought you were going. They saw the obvious manipulation there, Patrick. That's all I got to say.
My goodness.
Hey, I'm really thinking this challenge thing now, man. I think I will come next week.
And Tony Regime, I have to agree with you. You're correct. The Warrens did not investigate the Enfield poltergeist. They exploited the Enfield poltergeist case. They absolutely did, because they were exploitation artists. They were. I have my own opinions on Ed and Lorraine Warren. I know Ed has passed away, but I got my own opinions regarding that couple. And they are, weird. I'm not a fan. I'll just say that. Click, didn't like. So,
can I bring something up about the Enfield haunting? So I'll try and keep this as short as I can, but I used to be a science teacher. I don't know if that's a secret or not. For like 20 years, I was a teacher. And one idea I had was to book me, 2 other teachers, and 10 kids into a haunted bed and breakfast in Scotland. And the idea was we were going to go and we were going to take all the school data logging equipment and we were going to take loads of readings and prove that the place wasn't haunted using science, right? And as part of the preparation, we had a research assistant of Richard Wiseman, Dr. Richard Wiseman. Anyone familiar with him?
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a pretty famous guy in the field, like psychology and paranormal research. He's very much a skeptic. But anyway, he went and he came to our school to talk to us about investigation techniques, and he was telling us about his research professor, the guy who trained him. And he said that he actually went into the Enfield house while it was all taking place. So he's got quite like an insider's view on it. And he told us why the paranormal investigators that went in there were basically entirely untrustworthy. He talked about the Warrens. He talked about everybody. But he did say that there were 2 people there. And to this day, he has no idea why they said what they said. And it was the police officers that went in and said that they could see a table slide across the floor, a chair, slide across the floor. He said he's got no explanation for that whatsoever. But everybody else, he could lecture us for like half an hour on everybody else. But the 2 police officers, he was like, I've got no idea, because he didn't benefit financially from it. Their careers didn't benefit from it. So that was interesting.
Very interesting. Very cool. That was it was one of my big gripes about Ed and Lorraine Warren was how they had a knack for finding families that were in dire straits, that were desperate, and they had issues. Typically they would have like, individuals, that members of the family that had mental illness, or they were dealing with some sort of situation. And, or for example, or if you take like the Amityville case, in that case, that was literally just a family, or a family patriarch, the father, who found himself like underwater on his mortgage and needed any way out. And so what they ostensibly, they just went around just kind of taking advantage of situations and broadcasting them like they were this big thing. Now, Ed and Lorraine Warren were devout, and I'm talking hardcore devout Catholics. And so they really took this stuff and they ran with it. And because they were Catholics, it gave to the public, it gave them a lot of credibility. But ultimately, they preyed upon they preyed upon families that were having a great difficulty. And instead of getting them help, they fed into their delusions, which I felt did way more harm than they could have done quite good. For example, they could have gone in and done like Ghost Hunters on the Sci-Fi Channel. They used to do before Ghost Hunters, ate its own tail and they started faking stuff. Originally, they were a debunking show. They would go in and be like, oh, we're haunted. Okay, let's go and check out the house. And they would use, like Patrick said, like science. And they'd go in and they'd say, oh, no, this is what's causing this. This is what's causing this, so on and so forth. And bam, they would fix it because these guys were experts in construction. Jason and Garrett were experts in construction. They were experts in plumbing. They both worked for Roto-Rooter and were longtime veterans. So they knew what to do when going into a house and dealing with crap. And so they go in, they'd solve the problem, and the haunting would vanish because they would be able to debunk it. But that doesn't get ratings. Telling people that ghosts don't exist or debunking them doesn't get ratings, and the show started to decline. So in order to kind of ramp it up, they started fudging things and saying like, oh, maybe it was this. And like Nee said, they kind of jumped the shark on that. No, it was solely for ratings. And that's why I had problems. They were actually caught on a Halloween episode. Garrett was caught fudging something, or fudging like he was like his jacket was being pulled on by like something's pulling on my jacket. It was actually him doing it. And that was exposed on live TV. So yeah, it just didn't go well. They started out great, but people want the scary.
Yeah. We had a similar thing over here called Most Haunted, and actually the first ever episode was done about 10 miles from my house, which was odd. But they got busted. Like they had this fake psychic medium who used to come in called Derek Akoris, passed away now sadly. But are you all familiar with the Mary Loves Dick scene?
No.
Right. What I'm going to do, JL, is I'm going to send you a link. I'll go quiet for a second. I'm going to post you a link in the chat, in the private chat, and then see what you think of it.
I do love those ghost busting kind of things. They did one here at Convention Hall in Asbury Park because we had the big warship sinking, and there was supposedly all these ghosts running around in the Paramount Theater, like weird sounds to all the performers and things like that. There was supposedly a big fire and some people trapped, but it was quite an interesting, to hear them try to tell the history, and they got it all wrong. They got a lot of the history all wrong, and they kind of debunked it, but it was fascinating to watch. Them go through the process with the fake psychics and the equipment and things like that. Some of the equipment was pretty fascinating, though, I have to admit.
Let's see here. We got votes still coming in. We've got coming up on we got a minute and 15 seconds, or a minute and 10 seconds. So 1 minute and 10 seconds to get your votes in. If you haven't voted already for JL, Claire, or Patrick as to who you think took that with their presentation. I've got 23 votes marked already. So if you haven't gotten your vote in, be sure to just put the name that you have the person you think won. And Patrick, did you want me to play that? Show that?
Well, only to show what you said there before, that it's a because yes, and then watch what happens when they're off air. It's funny just to show what you said about basically it's just all about views and not about honesty.
Give me 2 seconds.
I'm so glad Patrick doesn't eventually can't go and delete all those votes on us.
So
you gotta watch them, JL. You gotta watch them. I'm serious.
So one thing that I've actually been kind of playing with is doing a road trip here in America, and obviously because there's all because of the here in America it's we have it's deeply Christian, and there's a lot of Christian influence everywhere. But here in America, we have in a number of states we have what are called devil's chairs. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with, either of you are familiar with what those are.
No,
So a devil's chair was they're in cemeteries. They're in like 7 states have devil's chairs in them. And devil's chairs were a headstone or a gravestone or a marker that was built, basically designed like a chair. So you could sit on it. Okay. Some are decorative, some you could some are like benches, some like, whatever. But there's like 7 of them in the United States. I wanted to do a road trip. And I have the locations of every single one. I have the rules for everyone, because everyone has different rules, like sit in it overnight or do something like leave a can of beer like on the side or whatever. So I have a number. So I wanted to do a road trip where I visited every single one and sat in each one and tested them and did the rules and everything and show people that nothing will happen, that nothing happens, that it's all hokum. So we are now the cutoff there. So before we present all the cool votes that came in, he wanted me to show this. So let's do this in keeping with the idea that that it's all about the views.
Because basically, I know the name Robert walks around, and I know Mary does, but there's this peace and calm of spiritual activity there with... You all right? All right. What is it, Derek? You all right? Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick. That's it.
He's pretending to be possessed.
Okay. Oh gosh. Oh.
I think he's having a fit.
Oh no.
Don't say all those things about him. Don't. Who are you?
In a minute they break and they laugh about it.
All right.
What happened?
Just for a moment, energy came in, and there's annoyance. A nice lady, but I feel as if she's got this great love for Dick. All right. For Dick. Okay. Great love. Covers him up.
They don't
Covers him up.
Are they related or?
Yes.
They're related.
Yes.
Right.
She covered him up. She helped him.
How do you mean covered him up?
How did she cover him up, Sam? She protected him.
Right.
With who? The only 2 that protected him were herself, Mary, and Betty. Mary and Betty. Okay.
She helped
They
him.
knew.
She helped him.
The only 2 ladies that knew. This
She helped him off.
place. And she used to help him. Would send
Food and
Betty.
things or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah, and parcels.
This is very, very interesting. You're giving a lot of information over here, and I'm hearing through my earpiece that our historians are going completely bonkers. So, I mean, has Derek come up with the right information?
Here we go.
Oh wow.
Here we go.
The best bit of that was Mary loves Dick. Fuck me! I could not stop laughing.
And there we go. All about the views.
All about the views, exactly.
That's amazing.
Oh wow.
Well, I thought I held the piece together there about
when you went, Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
So that's it, you know. I'm fully with what you said. Maybe on the first episode when they did their show over here, they were doing what you were saying, like trying to actually find stuff out. But then it just gets ridiculous. You get these fake psychics in, and you know, it becomes a pantomime.
You know, and speaking of psychics and stuff, there's actually a psychic town here in the States, in Florida, called Casadega. So in Florida is an unincorporated town that is literally like psychic capital of the United States. Every form of like psychic you could think of, palm readers, tea leaves, reading the bones, tarot, anything, like every they descended on the town of Casadega, and they all live there in this little unincorporated town, and you can go there and just psychics everywhere. So Really entertaining.
That's
All
cool.
right, so let's look at these votes. I have them pulled up, and I'm going to run through here. So, starting from the top, Patrick voted for himself. Congratulations, Patrick.
Thank you.
I'm assuming everybody voted for themselves.
No, I voted for you. Actually.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, so Patrick's got one. There, Juju B voted for Patrick, and Dan Shire voted for Claire. And Tesla Radio and Stupid Monkey both voted for Claire. And let's see, we got another one and another one. Claire's in the lead. There's one for me. Yay. And there's another for Claire. And Claire.
Ooh.
Okay.
Good.
There's another one there. Excellent.
Wow.
Claire. And then one. And then, two. And there's another one for me. I'm tied with Patrick. Yay.
Oh, there you go.
The one for Claire. And there's one for me. And let's see. There's one for Pat. There's another one for me. Oh, and thank you, Claire, for that vote. I do appreciate it. Thank you. And one for me. So, of the votes that we had come through, looks like the winner is definitely Claire with of the 23 votes with 13 votes.
Ooh.
So well done.
Thank you.
And then we've got, let's see, it says 20, is it 15, 13? Yes. And then I am in second with 7, and then Patrick has 3.
Oh no!
And you know that's
Patrick.
fine. It's fine that the chat got the vote wrong. It's fine.
You mean just like last week when Charlie won and you said it was like a bad vote? Okay.
No, it's fine.
I'm sensing a theme here.
I don't mind that they make the wrong decisions. What happens, what matters is that they're allowed to participate. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay.
well done,
We're not
Charlie.
changing the rules next week. We're still letting them vote. You know that, right? Like we're still letting them vote next week. We're not changing this up.
You guys actually did both choose properly iconic moments. And for different reasons, like I love the alien one, the burst out of the chest. I do love that moment.
It is still pukey gross. Like it still gets me. Like that was hard to even watch.
It's a belter. It's a belter, but I think like because I'm such an Exorcist fan, I'm like obviously not Exorcist 2, but because I'm Exorcist fan, I my personal feelings kind of like lean with JL because I love that kind of world, that franchise, and it's a bit more grounded. It's you can imagine like if there's real malevolence in the world, it's going to play out in a world that looks more like The Exorcist than obviously a futuristic sci-fi thing,
Right.
But if you're not into the supernatural, but you're into evolution, if you're more scientific, then obviously, which I should be because I'm a science teacher, then I'd probably go with you, Claire. But two of them absolutely spot on. Well done.
Oh, thank you so much, Braun, for the $2 super chat. Says Cats predicted right, JL. You did get second. I did. You did that prediction did come true, Cats. Well done.
Yeah. I actually thought you were going to have it. That was great, the one that you did, because actually to terrify people with none of those special effects, I mean, I am actually surprised they went with the alien, but just shows you that all that blood in that little damn thing is just epic. It's just like nobody gets over it. You all remember it. Like, yeah. And the fact that it ran away at the end and was loose. Oh, yeah.
Nee says, like I said, all three of you made compelling cases, but Alien was so iconic. It is one of the big iconic moments. It absolutely is. And of course, Claire, you mentioned a number of other ones such as Psycho and like just big epic moments. The shower scene in Psycho, and of course, there was a couple of when you brought up 7, the sloth sequence in 7.
Oh yeah,
that really got a lot of people, and that reaction, that was another real reaction because nobody knew when they walked into the room. Nobody knew that was an actor who was done up in the bed because he was so thin, and because the actor himself was naturally thin, and then they had so much prosthetic on him to make him look the way he looked. When people walked in and he was so still, they were like, "Oh, it was like, wow, that looks really gnarly." And when John C. McGinley was up in his face, when he jerks like that and like gasp, and John C. McGinley felt that was completely authentic because he wasn't. It wasn't. And David Fincher told the actor to do that, He's like, I'm gonna have John C. McGinley get up in your face and be like, you got what you deserved. And then and then I just want you to be like, just gasp at him. And then we got that moment, and John C. McGinley freaked out. So
Yeah. Honestly, wasn't this one harder than the first two that we did, Patrick, or even the first one, JL, that we did? Like, this one was really hard to drill down because like horror itself is supposedly terrifying and horrifying. That's their job, right? Like when they put it out.
There's a challenge in that because obviously the audiences are scared by different things. I know some people that I've talked to via the show, via the podcast Week in Horror, that are literally the only thing that scares them in the horror genre are possession movies. Like possession films, they can't do because it is so terrifying to them that they can't watch them, they can't sit through them. And then you've got individuals that I think they're more scared of monsters, more scared of aliens, more scared of people that are just terrified of slashers, and because they empathize with the violence that is taking place against the person that they're seeing on screen. So it really depends upon what really hits somebody. And the jump scares play to that because it's just a sudden shock to the senses, which is why those are the big iconic moments. The boom, the crashing audio, the crash zoom. But ultimately, it really comes down to the audience and what they find terrifying. Whether it's some people find the slow burn really, really scary. Like Hereditary. Hereditary was a slow burn with like moments of acceleration, like the telephone pole or Gabriel Byrne going on fire, or the helicopter mom when she's crawling through the air, stuff like that. So it just depends upon where you're going at. And it was a bit of a challenge. I went with one with The Exorcist 3. That one sits with me because it scared the living shit out of me when I saw it back in the 90s. When I saw that thing, I think I was like 16 when I saw that scene, and that one shook me because you don't expect it. You're already coming down from the previous red herring, and then all of a sudden, bam, and you're like, oh, like, and you don't even have time to really think about it because all of a sudden your adrenaline spikes again, and the scene is over before you're like what happened? Like, you just saw something. So.
Charlie just in the chat has just said, "What challenge is next?" And then decide later question mark. I think we've kind of set a tradition that we put it out to the chat that's watching to suggest the next challenge. What do you think?
Yeah, what do you think, chat? What would you like to see us tussle over next?
I kind of dig that. We had some ideas ourselves, but I love getting the chat's input on that. So. Chat, if you have a particular idea. So here's the first big question. Whose channel are we going to be on next?
If Charlie isn't up and running, I guess the next rotation would be mine. Well, either Charlie or myself. Yeah.
So it's either going to be on Claire's channel. If Charlie's up and running and solid and ready to go, we're going to be over there, and then we'll cycle back to Claire, then Claire, Patrick, me, and then Charlie, and we'll just keep rotating it. And this people seem to be enjoying this. But if you guys out there in the live chat really want to see us do something, if you your input now, are they constrained to like scary stuff, like horror stuff, or do we have because there are other topics as well? We were entertaining the possibility of like who was like the best sidekick.
We did that last week.
Oh, you did that last week.
Yeah, we did that sidekick last week. Charlie won that one, actually.
Who did he win with?
Oh, Charlie, help me out here.
I've been busy over here, so I had a chance to
watch it. I cried myself to sleep that night, so I don't really recall. I blanked it out. So Charlie, I think it was what?
It was Red from Shawshank Redemption.
That's right, Red from Shawshank. Nice. It was. He did really well. I picked Silent Bob. It was kind of niche, because I'm from Jersey. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, so yeah. Well,
we gotta see.
What did you pick, Charlie? What did you pick, Patrick? Because
it was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, that's right.
I myself, I probably would have gone with Ed from Shaun of the Dead, but I probably would have gone with that had I been available because I got slammed with some personal stuff, so I couldn't be on that one. But I was thinking Ed from Shaun of the Dead. I think that would have been a good pick. Let's see, we got some suggestions here. Let me see. We've got
and it could be anything in entertainment, like movies, series, anything to do with the media in general. The most ridiculous thing.
The most ridiculous scene that takes itself way too seriously.
That would be. Oh, wow. I got a lot to say about that one. Yeah.
Stupid monkey says favorite Smurfs episode. It
God.
probably be best Smurfs episode. What would be the best episode of the Smurfs? Icarus says,
I don't want to watch the Smurfs again, though. Come on,
Icarus,
please
Icarus
don't
says,
make me do that.
Icarus says saddest animal death scene, which is not Artax.
Oh, because that would win, Icarus.
I've got a few home movies that might win that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me see. Hildia says best superpower. And then let me see who else we got. Best book to movie from Hildia says best book to movie.
Now that's a good
adaptation.
one.
That's an excellent
That's a good one. Most people are actually dissatisfied with the movie version, like with the book and vice versa. Like there's a lot of challenge there, and that opens up a whole field.
That's going to be like that. That's going to wind up being.
Would it be just movie or series too? Because there's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's
Well, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was the series was an adaptation from a film, starring Christy Swanson. Yeah,
not a book. Okay, so that doesn't count. Yeah.
Charlie Welch says best reboot. Sean Coffey
or worst reboot. Let's do worst. Reboot. I've got candidates right away.
I've got the winner. I've got the winner on that one. I got the winner on that one.
And a reboot is what, like a remake of the original, right?
Yes.
It's not like a sequel or like a continuation or anything. It's just redoing the film.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Like a restart. Yeah.
Sean Coffey says best sidekick, but they did that on the last one.
Hi, Sean.
Let me see here. Do we have any other ones? Oh, yeah. Icarus says Lord of the Rings. Duh. Actually, there are some other book adaptations which are pretty freaking phenomenal. Braun says most terrifying monster.
Monster?
Oh,
like
that's a good one.
You mean like Godzilla or Rodan?
Any monster. There are many monsters out there. You've got everything going. If you go back to like the 1930s, you've got the classic Universal monsters. You've got the Hammer horror versions of them. You've got the 50s nuclear monsters. Everything from Godzilla to them to
we got those killer tomatoes.
You got. I mean, there's so many. There's so many different monsters you can play from. And so, and not to mention the iconic ones of today. You've got Alien, you got The Thing, you've got Predator, you've got so on and so forth. Lots of monsters.
Damn. That noise that Predator makes, that kind of makes my skin
the
crawl.
Clicking.
The clicking. And the drool from Alien.
Let me see here. Oh, yeah, it could be series as well because Icarus bringing Weeping Angels.
Doctor Who. They're terrifying. I agree. They are terrifying. Like, yes.
You are superior to us in only one way. What way is that? You are better at dying. I'm sorry. My favorite episode of my favorite episode of Doctor Who is when the three Daleks were like talking shit to the Cybermen. And it's just like a brilliant little moment where it's like, we are 5,000 Cybermen. How many are you? We are but 3 Daleks. And I was like, and it just the Daleks are hilarious, but I love them, and I just love that moment because Daleks are so snarky.
I really
Tesla
like
Radio.
Tesla. Yeah.
Tesla says worst kill scene. Now, when you mean worst, is it's terrible, it looks bad, or just the most visceral, like the most gruesome?
Yeah, because like you don't want a kill scene that kind of fails, where you're like, what?
Right?
Like, did they actually die? Like, what happened there? Like,
sorry. Just call me. Avi corrected me on my Who trivia. It is actually four Daleks in that sequence. We are 4 Daleks. Exterminate. McKinnon Mitchell Studio says most terrifying monster, Miss Carmody from The Mist. She was a bad one.
She was
a bad one.
The Mist. What an ending to that movie.
Oh, I wanted to eat a bullet after the end of that movie. God.
That's really category the best movie ending because that one haunted me for a while. That ending, really sticks with you.
There are a few films that really just kind of like sit with me. Another one was a British one with Timothy Spall and Jim Sturgis called Heartless. That one haunted me for like a week after I watched it, and it doesn't get. I don't think it gets the credit that it's due because it's a haunting look at the relationship between a son and his father, and he lost his father prematurely, and how this son is navigating his new world, and then he winds up making a Faustian pact with this entity it's fucking wild. And that movie was like So haunting. Jim Sturgis and Timothy Spall, obviously legends in their own right, but those two, they got me big time in that one.
I need to watch that. I've not seen that.
Yeah.
Let me see. What else we got? Let's see. Tesla. Oh, so Tesla Radio said worst realistic. So the most realistic or the least realistic kill scene? Because if we go most realistic, I already have a winner for that one.
I do like Charlie Owen's idea too.
Charlie Owen says most worthy death of an annoying character.
Yeah, because those are fun to watch. Like you can't. You're just like.
I
yes,
already have. I have a winner
like,
for that one too. This is great. There's when you talk about most worthy death of an annoying character, there's only one that immediately comes to mind, and I don't think anybody would disagree. And I'm not going to spoil, obviously, because that's my winner. We have a bunch of suggestions here. All good stuff. All right, so we got a bunch of suggestions. The least. Tesla Radio said the least realistic kill. Interesting. So we have a whole bunch of suggestions from the audience and a lot of good options that we're going to discuss amongst the four of us before we decide on one. And we will definitely try and credit the individual. If I can remember that, I'm going to write some of these down, and we will credit the individual that gave us the idea, and we'll put it back together. So this has been going on every Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, and which is 11:30 p.m. UK time, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, correct.
Fantastic.
6:30 Eastern Standard Time for us.
6:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. So if you dug it, if you in the live chat, if you dig what we're doing here and you kind of like the content and what we're trying to, the fun that we're trying to have here, let us know down in the comments below just what your thoughts were. Just let us know what you dig of this kind of like collaboration between us. And of course, hit that like button, or if you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. The interactions really, really help. And definitely the links for Claire Bear, for Patrick, and for Charlie Welch, the links to their channels are down there in the description. You can just click on those and hit those up. And you can go over there and subscribe there and get those notifications so that every Thursday we come back here and we do this whole kind of like debate thing. It's something really, really fun. Yeah, and you guys can come out and vote and determine who won it.
Yeah, it's great. And those of you who came here from over on my channel, if you haven't checked out Jay out, check out this channel and his Week in Horror. It's definitely a fun chat and a great show every time. It's worth it.
A good friend of my channel. He's such an amazing dude, J Mike. And this is. I gotta call this out. J Mike, it is so good that you're here. Thank you so much for popping in. We're having a little bit of a fun debate thing tonight. Just fans, just kind of like fanboying out, and fangirling out as well. J Mike says JL out bearding me. That is a goddamn compliment right there, because
there you go.
J Mike's beard is the stuff of legends. That man's beard is inspirational. We're talking like Hagrid takes notes from J Mike on how to handle the beard, and that right there is a compliment to me. So thank you, J Mike. You fucking rock, dude. I've never felt more proud.
Hey, maybe we could do that at one time, like best beard in a movie or series. Like that would be it. That would be pretty cool.
Greatest beard. J
Greatest
Mike
beard.
Surf is right. J Mike is good at the bearding. He has got the bearding down. He absolutely does. So thank you so much for popping in, J Mike. You rock. And this has been awesome. So anything from you guys before we close it out?
Yeah, I want to say you're an awesome host, JL, is what I wanted to say. You're an awesome, awesome host. And that's it. Nothing else. Yeah. But thank you for doing what you do.
Such a Patrick. I know. It's a lot of fun because you know a lot about these, so it's always nice to be over here. Thank you for hosting us, JL. This is great.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to do it again. And it's gonna be fun popping over to the other channels. I think we got an interesting thing going here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be good.
It's gonna be so hard to decide now with everything that they suggested. We have to. I don't know. We're not deciding now. We're going to wait until we get Charlie in the chat.
A lot of fan. And we're definitely going to get Charlie's input as well when we convene amongst ourselves. And this has been absolutely a blast. So a huge, giant thank you to every single one in the live chat who popped out and said hello and hung out and listened to our little presentations and voted for the winner. Claire took this one. Congratulations, yes! Claire. So that puts Claire as having 2 wins, and Charlie's got 1 under his belt. Pat have. Was it?
No. Patrick won the first one.
Patrick won
by cheating, but he did win. Yes,
Patrick
I was
the first one.
in last place on the first one. Actually,
Patrick won the first one because he cheated, and then Charlie won the second one, right?
Yes.
And then Claire's won this one. So I'm still in the cold. I have to come back strong. So I've got to win something.
I think you will. I think you are motivated now. I think you are.
I am motivated. I'm truly motivated. I sat down and I cultivated this. I was like, I'm gonna put some production value into this. I'm really gonna show it, and it timed out right. And so, I took second, so I know that I'm going in the right direction. So that's what's good.
It's second is good. Second is good. I was second last week. We don't want to remind Patrick he was third last week though. Shh, don't.
Ooh.
Shh. Or this week too. Shh. He got strong video game, so we have to play nice. You know I love you. I'm just razzing you, Kat. I can't help you. I can't you can't blame me. This feels like kind of good.
MC Wrecker says 3 cheers for Claire. Absolutely. And J Mike insists on reminding me, if you ain't first, you're last. This is true. This is true, Ricky Bobby. This is very, very true.
And I was last. I wasn't first. I was absolutely last.
I was impressed, though. You really pulled something out of there, Patrick. That was good. I really thought with that kid having the PTSD, I thought you won it. I thought you really got the sympathy vote there. Like, you had it. Like,
Yeah, I thought I had a good one, but it's nice to know that in your eyes I really pulled something out and just about managed to scrape last place. For me, that's an achievement.
Jeez. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, I was trying. I was being complimentary, I guess. I don't know. I did. I did love it. I did love it though.
Fantastic. Absolutely awesome. So I was asked a quick question. Tony Regime said, JL, which TV series starts with a paralyzed man at the side of the road with a crow on his chest looking at his eyes? That sounds extremely familiar. I'm going to have to look into it because it's not coming to me right off the top of my head. Likely because I'm kind of like in exorcist mode. But I will look into it and I will find it. I promise you. So another huge, giant thank you to everybody. Thank you so much for popping in. You guys rock. And definitely on behalf of thank you so much for bringing up Week in Horror. Every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, we have Week in Horror. The link will be in the description if you're not familiar with it already. It's basically a horror film podcast where me and my filmmaker friends sit down and talk about the films that released that week in horror history. You can check it out, youtube.com/Week in Horror. We do it every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. So we have a lot of fun over there. And we are coming up on the end of season 4. So we hope to see you in that live chat. And definitely check out the other panel members' channels. Check out Claire, check out Patrick, check out Charlie Welch. Hit those subscribe buttons, smash that notification bell so you know when we're going live every Thursday, 5 p.m. Central, 6:30 Eastern, 11:30 UK time. It's going to be an absolute blast. So a huge thank you to everybody. This has been awesome.
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you everyone in chat.
Bye. See you on the next one.